Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. As you can see, it's going to be Viewpoint, running on a FM Towns Marty. And this is a insanely difficult game. So we're probably not going to get terribly far in this game, maybe to the 3rd or 4th level. But I do know that a couple of people have requested this, and I was planning on doing it anyway, but here we are now. You got a couple of options here. You got fast mode, which is off by default. You're not able to turn it on, unfortunately. This is meant as a mode for faster FM Towns computers. Unfortunately, we're running it on a Marty, which is basically kind of like the lowest bottom of the barrel performance and specs wise when it comes to FM Towns models, unfortunately. The FM Towns Marty was basically an FM Towns computer, a very low-end FM Towns computer that was consoleized, essentially. So FM Towns computer software will run on it to a certain degree. Not all software will run on it, but a lot of the earlier software in particular will, like Viewpoint. So we're going to leave it on the normal difficulty mode, and it does have a music and sound test, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot of these Marty games have that. And let's go ahead and just on board. Ooh, so on board, I'm guessing, is you can use a keyboard if you're playing on an actual FM Towns computer. Maybe? I don't know. That's the only thing I can sort of like deduce from that. But, okay, let's go ahead and just jump right into the game. Now, I am very familiar with Viewpoint, don't get me wrong. But it is a game that, Genesis version aside, I have never managed to complete. And the FM Towns Marty version, or I should say FM Towns version, is actually quite similar to the arcade game, the Neo Geo game. Viewpoint was a Neo Geo arcade game. It also came out on the AES and Neo Geo CD. I am the most familiar with the Neo Geo CD version. That's where I've done most of my Viewpoint time. That and the Sony PS1 port of it by Visual Concepts, I believe, did that. Unfortunately, the PS1 version does not run that smoothly. It has a lot of frame skipping and so forth. So it's not the ideal version to play if you're trying to actually complete Viewpoint. In my many times trying to complete the game, I spent most of the time doing the Neo Geo CD version, and I actually managed to make it to Stage 5. Stage 5 basically gives you a boss rush and makes you fight all 4 bosses leading up to that point, and then it's got a 5th exclusive boss. I don't know if that level's the final stage in the game, or if there's another level after it, but I never got past that brand new boss for Stage 5 after the boss rush. So we'll kind of see how far we get in this playthrough. I predict we're going to get to level 3, maybe level 4. Depends on how many times we die on level 3. Level 2, I'm usually pretty good with. Level 1 is obviously not terribly difficult. It might give newcomers some trouble, just because of the, no pun intended, viewpoint. Viewpoint definitely takes some time to get used to. It's not the easiest game to get the hang of, strictly because of the viewpoint. And I know that's kind of part of the point. Again, no pun intended. But I've been playing Viewpoint for a long time, though, so I'm pretty comfortable with this isometric angle. This isometric viewpoint. And so we shouldn't have too much trouble, at least getting through the first couple of levels. But as always, I make no guarantees as far as how far I make it into these games I play on these Let's Plays. But I predict level 3, level 4. We'll see what actually comes of that. So Viewpoint, you know, it plays at this isometric angle, but you also have this charge mechanic. So you can either mash down the fire buttons really quickly like this, it's extremely weak, or you can charge up R-Type style, or for Neo Geo fans out there, Pulsar style. And if you charge quickly and release quickly, you can actually do these quicker but weaker blasts like this. Sometimes what I do is I just play like this all day. It seems like a good balance between doing this and doing this over and over. The big blast is by far the most powerful, though, so if you can time this really well, you might actually do the most damage. But if you want to play with a good balance, you can sort of just keep tapping, just briefly charging, like for a couple of frames over and over again. So this is kind of a good way to play sometimes, especially if you're new to the game. You might want to just play like this. But mashing like this doesn't really do you a whole lot of good. It's very weak. And so one level down, we're on to level 2 now. So by pressing your alternate button, you do have bombs. So I have, if you look down in the bottom center portion of the screen, I actually have 3 bombs. It's these circular colored icons. And the green ones are homing missiles, and I just used it. The blue one is this sort of like circular black hole type of thing. And then you've got red ones, which I guess stand for fire. And that's probably my favorite because it has this... I used it in the beginning, actually. It has this blast that just goes all the way up the screen. This wall of fire that traverses up the screen, basically. And it seems to do a lot of damage, which is really good. Using your bombs is actually really important in this game for survival, especially on some of the bosses. So you're going to see me using my bombs a lot throughout the course of this playthrough. Particularly on the Stage 3 boss. And I'll definitely use my bombs on this boss as well, just to sort of mow through him a little bit quicker than usual. I try not to use my bombs during the levels themselves, unless it's like an absolute like emergency. But if you know like the enemy layouts and the patterns and so forth, you shouldn't need to use your bombs during the stages themselves, but the bosses are insanely difficult in this game, and accounts for the majority of the difficulty in this game. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with most of the levels themselves in this game that I've encountered so far, but it's the bosses that just tear me a new one, basically, unfortunately. Alright, so this is fire, but we can only hold 3 bombs, so we're going to go ahead and just use one and pick up the fire. Now, one thing that's really interesting about the Marty version of the game, or playing Viewpoint on a Marty, is that the animation is severely lacking in certain cases compared to the Neo Geo version. Those little worms that were bouncing from hole to hole over there are some of the most obvious examples. They literally only have like 3 or 4 frames of animation in this version, whereas in the Neo Geo version they are just silky smooth. Tons of animation on them in that version of the game. Overall, though, this is still a really good version of Viewpoint. I mean, like, these turtles, they animate really well. The turtle that's just, like, you know, circling around animates, like, fantastically. But some of the other characters in this game, unfortunately, do not animate as well. I guess some cutbacks had to be made. And near the beginning of level 3, which we're going to be getting to shortly, there's going to be some frame skipping as well, some major frame skipping, kind of like in the second level of Raiden, which you guys experienced during my Let's Play of that last week. And so some things animate pretty much just like the Neo Geo version. Ooh, got some frame skipping there. Ooh, wow. And other things do not animate like the Neo Geo version. Let's go ahead and use our fire. Yeah, try to take this guy out really quickly if we can. Ooh, look at that. That's good. So the strategy in this guy I like to use is to go all the way up like this when he shoots out his bubbles. Move back out, and then just rinse and repeat. Seems to be a way to avoid the bubbles. This is a boss that gives a lot of people trouble. A lot of people that have talked to me about Viewpoint say that they have a hard time with this boss. They've never gotten past the bubble section. But it's actually pretty controllable once you figure out the pattern and how it works. This last part's just really simple. Just dodge his projectiles and shoot him, and then that's it. So not bad. We haven't died yet. We're going to start dying a lot from here on out. But yeah, as far as how this compares to the Neo Geo version, I find it to be a really solid version overall, but it does have some frame skipping at parts on the Marty, and some animation is lacking as well at other parts. For the most part, though, it's pretty spot on with the Neo Geo original. The difficulty's pretty much the same. You know, the power-up placements are all the same. The enemy placements are the same. It's a really good port, for the most part. This is where things start to get a little choppy. We start getting some slowdown. Some frame skipping and slowdown. A combination of both. So things are getting slow, but the frame rate's also getting choppier at the same time. Which is an interesting combination. Some games will just do one or the other. They'll either just get slow and display every frame, or get super fast and just skip frames to keep the speed. I've mentioned it in previous Let's Plays, but I prefer the R-type, the super R-type style slowdown method, where everything just slows to a crawl. Because at least then you don't lose your ability to deal with enemies and, you know, situations on the screen. We're gonna go ahead and use this bomb, which is probably a bad idea. I really need that bomb for the boss, but I didn't want to die there. This game does use a checkpoint system. We got 2 bombs here, that's good. This might be enough, actually. I guess we'll see. Ooh, that was close. So these sort of like centipede, millipede kind of things that come out, you need to hit them in the head. And you really want to do it with just one strong charge blast. You can kill them in one hit that way. But if you don't, they're going to come back and probably kill you. I've always loved these things, these big-ass worms. Not really worms, but I don't even know what they are. What they're trying to replicate. But really cool. So like another animation flaw compared to the Neo Geo version is that big insect's wings. They only animate like at 2 frames a second. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down. Whereas the Neo Geo version is just super smooth as the wings just flutter up and down. Okay, that's actually not bad. I died, but I have 3 bombs now at least. And I really need every bomb I can get on this boss. It's, and you'll see what I mean. The first form is tough, but when you blow the insect's head off, that's the really hard part for me. And you'll see what I mean in just a few moments. Love the music on in this game in certain places. Like this level's sorry. This level's got a very chill tune. It's just funky. I like it. It works for the game. Ugh. See, now the frame skipping is starting to kill me. Once that dude's worm starts coming out and, you know, scrolling around the screen, and the boss starts shooting his bullets, things start to really slow down, unfortunately. Or, I shouldn't say slow down, but the frame rate starts to skip, and that makes it very, very difficult to dodge. You know, the isometric angle makes it hard enough as it is to dodge the bullets, to, you know, judge your positioning and so forth, and the spacing within the bullets, or spacing between the bullets. Fortunately, the Marty controller is pretty solid for this type of game. I feel like I can never blame the controller for dying in a game like this. Ooh, that was close. It's quite solid, actually. There we go. Alright, so he does this little wavy pattern here. He pulls out his head. Oh, that's a problem. We're just gonna use our bombs each time, basically. Oh, none of those bombs hurt him? Come on. That's rough. Whew. These bosses are intense, too. Because they take a while to kill. Bam, we got it. Whew. Viewpoint is one of the most intense shoot-em-ups I've ever played. And not because there's, like, thousands of bullets on the screen, but it's just because, like, the way, like, the boss patterns are implemented are just really tough to deal with. And unless you've got a shield, you're always basically one hit away from death. And very much like R-Type, it's got the checkpoint system, so, you know, you're stuck respawning and having to deal with a section over and over again to beat a boss, which can be infuriating. There's a reason shooters like this have a limited appeal compared to other shooters. It's just the trial and error aspect is can be really, really frustrating. Me, I always had a soft spot for Viewpoint because, like, I do like how it sort of, like, eases you in a way. So, like, the first couple of levels I think are really fun. But level 3, level 3 itself is fine. It's the boss that is a major pain. And same with this level. Like, this is actually, will get pretty tricky as well. But if you're powered up, if you have a shield, you should be able to get through it without too much trouble. It's the boss, though. And the bosses are just insanely tough in this game, like I've said already. So this is the part right here where it's good to just mash on the normal fire button. Or mash your normal attack, I should say. Alright, getting close to the boss. Just this last pattern here. There's going to be a section right here coming up where the doors open up. Just like this. You need to just sort of move over to one side of the screen and just fire. Alright, so this is where we're probably going to get hung up in this playthrough. Is this boss right here. He's just stupid difficult. Stupid endurance heavy. So basically his mouth opens up. He's got 4 sides to his head. 4 faces, basically. And you have to destroy each face one by one. And each face pattern gets progressively more difficult. Unfortunately, we don't have enough bombs to deal with this, but we do have a shield at least, which is more than I can say that we'll have after we die. Because I'm pretty sure I won't get a shield again getting back to this guy. Now, one of the big problems with this boss, and this is one of my least favorite aspects about this game, is the bosses are almost, I don't want to say like puzzle-centric, but with how their patterns are set up, you have these gaps where you can't actually do any damage to the boss. So like when his mouth is shut, I can't do anything, basically. And that's really frustrating. So when you have to fight this boss over and over again, you're just taking forever trying to get back to the part that you died at. Now, if the boss was just sitting there and you could just wail on him and just be doing tons of damage, it wouldn't be nearly as bad if you ask me, but... Look at all these bullets. Yep, that's the part I had the most trouble with, is that part with those bouncing blocks. And this isn't exactly an ideal checkpoint either. It's not exactly the easiest checkpoint in the game. As you can see, there's a lot happening right there. But hey, at least we made it to that boss without continuing. And that was the ultimate goal. So let's go ahead and continue. I'll continue once or twice. This will probably be about a half-an-hour long Let's Play. Mainly because I don't think you guys want to see me trying to beat this boss for an hour and a half. Because that's basically what's going to happen. This is usually where I sort of run into a brick wall. It would be extra nice if they gave me a shield, but I know it's not going to happen. Unfortunately. So the frame rate on this part is not quite as smooth as it is in the Neo Geo version either, which... little skippy at parts. In a very subtle manner, I should say. It's not as noticeable as it is in other parts of the game. You have to have a really good eye to notice that. Now, if anybody's watching this has actually beaten Viewpoint and is a self-proclaimed expert at the game, arcade or FM Towns versions, not the Sega Genesis version, that one doesn't really count. Let me know if you have any tips for this boss, or any of the bosses for that matter. One of the things I've been meaning to do is try to go look up like a long play for Viewpoint to see if I'm doing anything wrong. Like, are there any other strategies I could apply? Aside from using bombs, of course. Because obviously that would be a good strategy. I try to save my bombs on this boss for his final form. And the handful of times I've actually beaten this boss, that's the only way I've managed to beat him is by saving my bombs for the final form. But I'm wondering if I'm doing anything wrong on like these first 3 forms, you know what I mean? Yeah, I had to waste a bomb because I was gonna die. Yeah, I got lucky there. We might not even continue again. This might be it, because I really don't want to do this like 10 times. So in this checkpoint, I've learned that you really have to just go straight for your option here. And then that'll allow you to deal with this section. But if you don't do it that way, then you're probably going to die. Pretty much as simple as that. Or you can just die regardless. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Oh my god, what am I doing? Alright, one last continue. Oh, jeez, I ran into another bullet? It looked like I was gonna sort of just graze that and get by it, but apparently not. Okay, brick wall has been hit. I'm at that point where I don't care anymore. I thought when you were on top of those things, like, they wouldn't spawn anymore, but apparently not. Alright, one last continue. That last one should have been my last continue, but we just, like... Holy crap, really? Why am I getting hit by these things? Because you're not killing them, stupid! Well, yeah. Alright, there we go. I don't know why that was so hard. I mean, it is Viewpoint after all, so... But, still... Yeah, I really wish there was a way to take this guy out faster, because he's easily one of my least favorite bosses in shoot-'em-up history. He might actually even be my actual least favorite boss. It's always a nightmare when I get here. And it seems like if you want to have the best chance of beating this guy, is to have a shield when you get here, like I did the first time. Otherwise, it's just going to be insanely difficult. You got to get through all these bullets... without taking a single hit, basically. Which is rough. Super rough. Oh, the stupid blocks. Stupid blocks. This is one of the things that's really tough about that boss is, like, you've got to go through 3 other forms before you can actually really figure out how the 4th form works. And you obviously only have so many tries to do that, or so many times you are going to do that. Like... So basically, it's really... I still don't know the pattern of those blocks that he has. Or the walls, technically. Oof, got hit. Alright, so this is our final life. This is going to be our final try as a result. I really should just not even try, because I don't have all my bombs, unfortunately. So it's going to make that last part a little difficult. Yeah. Well, this is a good stopping point, guys. You know, I would say it's a valiant effort. You know, I got here on my first try, at least, which is good. Which is what I was aiming for. I wasn't aiming for, like, major success, because here's the deal. If you get to level 5, you gotta fight all these bosses over again. So, this boss I just fought, I had to fight him again on level 5. It's one of the dumbest design choices in shoot-'em-up history that I can absolutely think of. And, it's really unfortunate, because, like, I understand having a boss that's just ridiculously difficult like this, but having to make you fight him again in the same game, I think is just was really lazy on the developer's part. Now, I actually have a video of me streaming the Neo Geo CD version of this game. You can just look for it on my Twitch channel here, or check my Shmups playlist on my main channel page, and you can find it there as well. And you can actually see me beating this boss that we just got stuck at, getting to level 5 for one of the first times, and then being flabbergasted when I had to fight the 4th boss all over again. I still managed to beat him though, fortunately, but beat him a second time, I mean, but I was just not happy when I saw that when I was doing the Neo Geo CD version on Twitch. Well, yeah, that's Viewpoint, guys. Played on a FM Towns Marty. It's still a really solid version of the game, and definitely a solid version or a solid way to play the game. It's still not as good as like the Neo Geo versions, either AES, MVS, or CD. The CD in particular, I think, has sharper audio, so I recommend playing that version over the other ones if you can. But this is still a really solid version of the game, definitely better than anything else we got in North America outside the Neo Geo. You know, it's better than the PS1 version, better than the Genesis version, and so forth. So if you've got an FM Towns Marty, this is definitely one I recommend trying out. So, yeah. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play. For those of you guys new to my channel, please consider subscribing. We've got a lot of Let's Plays on here already, many more to come. And for all you guys already subbed as usual, thanks a lot. And I'll see you guys soon. So stay tuned for more Marty Let's Plays, and take care.